This episode of Bourbon on Ice, presented by your friend Frosty and your bartender, Mike Whiskey, is brought to you by the Cape Media Center of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. The views and opinions expressed during this podcast do not necessarily reflect those of the Cape Media Center. Listener discretion is advised. You know, Frosty?
What?
Despite the name, the Pit of Despair is not all that bad a place to be.
Affordable rent, decent view.
Yeah,
Good commute from my house to work.
that's always good.
Why are we staying here? We could move there.
We could.
I'm comfortable and my stuff's here.
That's true. Roll the music.
Welcome, listeners, to Bourbon on Ice.
Where we talk about everything nerdy, like gentlemen.
Join us every week for our local Cape Cod take on, well, everything.
Laugh, cry, be confused, and laugh some more.
I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
Stay tuned. You think they'll like the episode?
Oh, they'll definitely love it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
We are back in the studio.
And we are happy as clams before you. Kill them mercilessly, rip them out of their shells, fry them, and dip them in delicious sauce.
How happy do you suppose the average clam is?
I don't know. They're at the bottom of the ocean. They're always closed inside those shells. They could be having a fiesta in there.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy if I were a clam.
I mean, no one's bothering you. No one's talking to you.
So long as I didn't get eaten, dug up and eaten.
Life is a clam. Are we actually envious of that?
No, I'm not envious.
No. Welcome to Bourbon on Ice, where we discuss all things nerdy, like gentlemen. I am your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender,
Mike Whiskey. Ha, beat you to it. That's not how it goes, is it?
I guess you don't need me.
Wait, Whiskey, come back.
You can do this whole episode on your own.
No, come back. Okay, he's gone. Let's talk about what we think about whiskey. Okay, let's try that one more time. I'm your friend Frosty.
And I'm your bartender, Mike Whiskey. Oh, I saw your lips move. You quivered.
I was contemplating doing it a second time. I know. And now that fear will always live within you.
Not really a fear.
But
Speaking of fears,
we have something really terrifying to talk about.
At least for Frosty.
Okay, so
Frosty has arachnaphobia.
What? Is there one here? There's one here, isn't there? Kill it! Kill them all!
I'm sure there are a few around here somewhere.
It is Cape Cod. This is a house.
Yes.
I mean, it's like the people who say, "Oh my gosh, are there bees there?" It's like, yeah.
And there are bees everywhere.
Unless, do they have bees in deserts? They have hornets.
They do have hornets.
Hornets and wasps.
And at least we're not an Australian home.
Oh,
with spiders the size of dinner plates.
Ugh. When I was a kid, there was a song that we would sing about the burrow web spider. And I sang it cheerily until I, kind of realized exactly what I was singing about. And the final line of the song is even, "The burrow web spider has a deadly bite." The crap that they get us to sing. Ugh.
I met an old fat spider sitting in his tree. No?
No. Continue.
I said, "Hey, old fat spider, I bet you can't catch me."
Okay, you're going to stop now. And you will never sing this again. Never. As a matter of fact, we're contacting the lawyers.
You've grown too fat, you lazy lot. You're just an old Tom Noddy. Hey, Attercup, hey, Attercup. You can't catch anybody.
This is from The Hobbit, isn't it?
It is from The Hobbit, the animated movie.
I don't know how I
catch.
knew this, but I knew this. Jeez Louise. Okay, so, as some of you are aware, I may or may not have mentioned at least once or twice that I went blind.
Okay, I thought you were going to say afraid of spiders, in which case I said, I don't
Oh,
know.
I mentioned that too.
I don't know how many times you've mentioned that, though. But blind, yes, you've definitely mentioned that one.
Okay, so after the whole blindness incident, I started seeing the world in a different way. Primarily, I used to be acrophobic. I'm not 100% sold on heights, but now I really enjoy being on top of tall things and looking out over beautiful views. Same as spiders. I used to not be able to so much as stand the actual sight of them. As in, you could do that thing with your hands and a flashlight, and there would be the sound of breaking drywall, and you'd look up and you'd see an actual Frosty-shaped hole in the wall. And then you'd hear a dee 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 dee. Have you been watching why am I asking? Did you know that they relaunched Tiny Toons as Tiny Toons Looniversity? It's so funny.
Didn't they do that a long time ago?
I don't know. I don't know about baby something.
Wait, the baby Looney Tunes, not Tiny Toons.
No,
right?
this is legitimately Tiny Toons.
Oh.
They brought them back and...
Because they were always at the Looniversity.
No, I'm talking about how the actual show is called Tiny Toons Looniversity.
Oh.
Yes, the original series had them at Acme Lou as well, but they've just rebranded the name, and they've changed a couple of character identities, and it's actually really good. And as always, you know, the humor and topics are relevant and topical. For crying out loud, they had an episode about drag.
I mean, that's always been a thing in the Looney Tunes.
It has. It really has. They also changed Babs and Buster Bunny, so now they're literal twins.
Oh. Wait a minute, that's not right. Because they used to say all the time, no relation.
I'm Babs Bunny, and this is Buster Bunny.
No relation.
No relation, yeah. Believe it or not, that was addressed at a panel. Yes, people, we're going off topic. Deal with it, Winoids. And we're in control of the sound system. What are you going to do about it, huh? Huh? Don't leave.
I was about to say, they have full power to turn us off.
But then they would miss me doing this.
They can't see that, Frosty.
And this.
And I wish I couldn't see that.
This was actually addressed at a panel earlier this year, and the whole thing is blunt and simple. They wanted the characters to change identities. As opposed to simply being carbon copies of each other, they wanted them to find out what they were like in new identities. When you go to college, even if you're a sibling, odds are you will not be with your sibling the entire time. So these two are painted as twins who have never been separated, always together, practically tied at the hip, and now they are forced to live with other people and learn who they really are. And honestly, it's kind of funny. It works. Of course, you got the true fans who are like, we will never accept this, but it's a cartoon, people.
I will never accept this.
It's a cartoon person.
It's a cartoon person or a cartoon, person?
Both. Also, they're doing a really good job of bringing in all the old tunes and putting them in, faculty roles that are actually utilized. But, anyway, moving on.
Back to the topic at hand. Spooters.
Spooters?
Spooters.
That makes it sound almost cute.
Yeah.
So, as a result of not being blind anymore, heights are no longer a terrifying thing for me. But the other day I realized neither were spiders. They're actually kind of fascinating to look at. And I used to be so twitchy that I couldn't even stand a photo of them. I couldn't look at them on a video. I'm still not the biggest fan of them.
And there's no need to be.
But I do admit they are kind of cool to look at.
And they keep away a lot of pests like mosquitoes and flies.
I have a deal going with the spiders living in my house right now that they can stay so long as they stay up on the ceiling and do their job.
And here's actually some good news for you. That, have you ever heard that, you swallow, 10 spiders a year in your sleep?
Yes, unfortunately I have.
That's a myth. Spiders aren't that stupid.
They're talking about, really, really small ones.
No.
Walk into your open, gaping maw as you sit there in bed going...
No. They don't do that. I'm pretty sure that...
I'm pretending I'm a disgusting person yawning like I'm in a 1930s cartoon. The audience is now grossed out.
Miggs actually used to shake the bunk bed that we slept on. I was in the top bunk, he was in the bottom bunk. And it would rattle. The bunk bed would shake.
Miggs. The guy's 5 inches from the ground.
He's not that small. But yeah.
Merlin the Magic Mouse is taller than him.
That's not nice.
He and your your fiance will be the only people who could actually bump into each other. Or see eye to eye, literally. I enjoy making fun of people who are shorter than me because it makes me feel taller. I'm insecure.
We are the same height, and he makes fun of me for being shorter than him.
I have platform boots. And I will utilize them at times just to give myself a pep boost.
Because that 3 inches matters.
Every gay man knows that every inch matters. But I'll show myself out now. However,
I opened the door for you.
However, a lot of people out there in this world happen to look at spiders and say, you know what? Arachnophobia. Let's tickle that nerve.
And burn the house down while we're at it.
Honestly, you see spiders in movies, you see them in television. They're always a source of horrifying evil coming to devour the main character and cause them to die from death and still be dead because of it. But you're safe because that's a movie. That's the other side of a screen.
Yeah, and even with like rides and stuff at amusement parks, it's like,
oh, that's the rub right there. That's where it ceases to become just a phantasm and becomes a literal, physical, actual thing. Yeah, I think I can say that.
Thingus McDingus?
Sure, why not? Someone, again, sitting around, suddenly sitting up in bed and saying, you know what? I think I'm going to piss off people today, specifically those who are afraid of spiders. And I'm going to create like a 500-pound one and put it in a theme park, and people will pay to see it. Hey, why is that mob with torches approaching my house?
I don't know why that reminded me of the First Guy to Do a Thing series.
Who is the first person to eat an oyster? That's actually a book.
No, it's a series on YouTube. There's a content creator who does the first guy to go fishing, the first guy to rob a bank, the first guy to... And it's pretty funny.
You know, I bet this becomes a thing. Well, I happen to follow Fast Pass Facts, TPM Vids, and a whole bunch of other theme park related channels on YouTube because that is entertainment, people. It is. And you can make money from it.
It's meta entertainment, actually, because they're...
The best kind!
They're making entertainment on actual entertainment.
The best kind. And let me pull this up here.
To the internet. Away.
Hey, that's my line. To the internet. Oh, you already said it.
Now you know.
It's not as special.
Now you know how I feel.
Is this what karma is?
Yes.
I swear I will never steal your intro again.
Yeah, you will.
I probably will. I'm that way.
Yes, you are. You are a petty bitch.
Am I going to argue with that? About a month ago, a video popped up from Fast Pass Facts, which now has 41,000 views, and it is entitled Nightmare Fuel Spider Animatronics Arachnophobia Attractions. So, of course, I took one look at that and said, nope.
Except you said, yep.
I may have bookmarked it.
Because you decided to make a video about it with me.
I may have bookmarked this because it sounded so fascinating, and honestly, who doesn't look for that one thing in a ride? You know, you look up the video of a ride and you hear there's a thing in there that's terrifying, and you kind of want to see that thing. How many people smuggle their phones and their cameras into attractions these days, and people look around and say, oh, I hear there's a this, I want to find the this. Whoa!
You know, funny thing is, I actually have a friend, and she's able to smuggle, like, a 3-course dinner into the movie theaters.
I was about to take a drink. I'm very glad I waited until you finished that sentence. So, Whiskey and I decided we were going to sit down and watch this video. We decided. I made him.
There was no mutual... This was non-consensual. This was non-consensual video watching.
You will sit in that chair and you will watch this video on 17 nightmare-inducing spider attractions.
I'm going to be honest. We watched the whole video, and I wasn't very impressed.
There were a couple in there that had me on the edge of my seat. There were a couple in there that I actually knew about. And there were a couple that I had witnessed in person. But I will say it, somewhere out there in this world...
Over the rainbow...
There are people who are destined to be burning in the pits of hell. And these 17 attractions are why. Once again, the video is called Nightmare Fuel Spider Animatronics Arachnophobia Attractions. You can check out the video on Fast Pass Facts at any time. But we went through the video, and we're going to share these with you because they're just so darn wrong.
In more ways than one.
We have to talk about this.
Do we?
Yes, we do.
Okay, fine.
I've reserved the game room.
You did. You called ahead and asked.
By the way, I'm looking at that set of D&D dice in front of you. Are those... Is that a chicken?
They are the chickens of shame. Yes.
The dice is called the Chickens of Shame. That's awesome. Okay, so we should dive on in. Chickens of Shame, really.
Yes.
The Cape Media Center, located in Dennisport, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, is a non-profit community media center and the public access TV station for the towns of Barnstable, Yarmouth, Dennis, Harwich, and Chatham. Our mission is to build community through media, enhance democratic communication, and facilitate free expression by providing these towns with a state-of-the-art media resource center. Members can become trained in our video and audio equipment and produce their own media content. Membership includes training classes, access to our field equipment, studios and facility, as well as airtime. Podcasters and music producers can share their content on our website. For more information, visit capemedia.org.
This episode of Bourbon on Ice is brought to you by Market Street Bookshop in Mashpee Commons, located at 31 Market Street, Mashpee, Massachusetts. Embrace diversity and find support for local authors and artists at the Market Street Bookshop, where your favorite new read is just a browse away. For more information, give them a call at 508-539-6985. Attraction 1 comes to us from the magical land of Disney. Quite literally, Disneyland.
There's a few of these from Disney World and/or Disneyland.
Which makes you wonder what is going on in the brains of those people. Seriously. Number
Pixie
7.
dust. One hell of a drug.
Number 17 is called Web Slingers. It is located on the Avengers campus. It is an interactive ride where you go around, see a bunch of screens, and, well, you hear Spider-Man. We're not saying that Spider-Man is the spider, because that would just be silly.
It would be.
No, it's the hundreds upon hundreds of tiny spider robots.
You can hardly call them a spider robot, because they have 4 legs, not 8.
I think they had 6.
I thought it was 4.
But they are available for purchase.
Of course they are.
They're adorable and cute.
Overpriced, I'm sure.
But you're watching on the video as they swarm. The thing is, it's a video.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they're frankly cute. They spew web, and they're apparently everywhere. During the ride queue, you look up and you see them, like, on the ceiling, but that's nothing that's going to make you run...
Outside of the ride queue, there was one caught in a spider web.
It's nothing that's going to make you run screaming in the opposite direction. However, they do make that little scratchy sound as they move, so, wow. See, people, not everything on this list is going to be terrifying.
This was probably the least terrifying.
Are you sure? Because next we go to number 16, Flo's V8.
That's true. This one's not very terrifying at all either.
Okay, so Radiator Springs from Cars, also sometimes known as Cars Land to people, is a special area that can only be found in Disneyland in California. This area is dedicated to all things cars. They have the cafe, they have a ride, they have all sorts of animatronics of the cars roaming around that you can see at periodic parts of the day. But when Halloween comes, it's no secret that Disney likes to do things up for the holidays. I'm not talking just a half-ass job. I'm talking they 100% overhaul their attractions with parades, fireworks, and attraction overlays. They take over all of Radiator Springs and put the cars in costumes. One of them, though, is the Spider Car. It's just a small car.
Dressed like a spider.
Yeah, and it's only got 4 eyes.
And I don't think it moves.
It doesn't. I mean, it does, but it's moved by people. It's picked up and put in places. Yeah. However, if you get close enough to it, you can hear it make the little skittering sound. That kind of messes with you. And you can sit in the thing.
And take pictures.
Yeah, no. I know it's fake and ridiculous, but still, I just don't want to touch that thing.
It looked fine.
And according to the video, it's actually a recycled ride cart from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. So anyone who actually knows how big those things are knows that this is not a giant thing. It's probably smaller than this table.
It probably is the size of this table.
Okay, then. Now we're going somewhere different. To the Netherlands for number 15. To, you cut the name of this.
Aventoren.
That word.
Aventoren Park.
There is a ride there where you are on the trail of a lost explorer and his parrot. While you go through this ride, basically a rescue mission, you encounter your standard jungle animatronics, which pop out from behind walls and leer at you. We're talking the gorillas and the lions, and then you find a spider.
A big spider.
Its face looks like a skull, and not a very good one. It was kind of dark red, and it had indentations, and it was high up in the ceiling.
Yeah, it's definitely very stylized.
The thing, though, is that what's more terrifying than the spider, all of the mummified people that it's captured and is going to eat.
There's actually a word for that. They're desiccated corpses.
Missed, not stab. Putting knife down.
And you find the explorer in one of those, with the little hope sign and his hat on top.
So you know it's him. Oh, I'm just going to say that that's honestly a little more creepier to me than this actual spider was. I mean, it kind of gives you the feeling of helplessness and fear that this truly unimpressive animatronic spider failed to capture. But now we're moving back to the House of Mouse. We are heading... Kirkus, if you're listening, this one's for you. We're heading back to Disneyland, the inferior park. Long live Disney World! Remember that angry mob I mentioned before? I think I hear them outside.
Yeah.
Okay. To the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland. Now, in both Disney World and Disneyland, you can find the Haunted Mansion. You actually find an iteration of this ride. It's a slow-moving dark ride, and the whole purpose is that you go through a mansion. There's a different story in each place. Populated by ghosts, you tend to see a lot of terrifying-ish things, but as it's a family ride, it's pretty much scaled down.
It's tame.
However, in both Disneyland and Disney World, there happened to have been a spider web. 2 spider webs with very large spiders, kind of looking like the golden orb weavers that just happened to fill up Cape Cod around this time of year.
I like those ones.
You ever go close to it, you see a kind of big spider in a web, you go close to the thing, and the web suddenly starts shaking, and the thing's like bouncing, and you're standing like, oh gosh, did the wind do that? No, the spider does that. Orb weavers sense your arrival, and they shake their own web to drive you off.
That's kind of
They
cool.
are completely harmless. Oh, they will bite human beings, but they're not poisonous.
Yeah.
They won't kill you. And they eat all those pesky mosquitoes. They're kind of cool, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
These 2 spiders sit in the webs, and they shake. That's all they do. They are human-eating spiders at Disneyland, but you only know this because many years ago, when the attraction opened, they used to have corpses hanging in the webs. We're talking like, fleshless skeletons with their clothes tattered, hanging in the webs.
And they would shake.
Yeah, they took those out.
I wonder why.
Well, it is a family park, as I mentioned. But now with no corpses, they're just...
Spiders.
Yeah, and they're basically the size of a large dinner plate. They don't come close, they just shake, so just unpleasant. They just, hang there, so what? Unlike number 13, the spider from the Lagoon Amusement Park in Utah. Spider Lagoon is an actual location here.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to go to a place called Spider Lagoon?
These ones are pretty cool. That was some cool metal work.
Okay, so let's just describe these. It is a giant black widow.
It looked maybe like 10 to 12 feet tall.
It's 15 feet tall.
15, yes, there we go.
27 inches in feet in diameter, sorry.
Yep.
27,800 pounds, costing $50,000, and it happens to spray poison.
A mist. And there's 2 of them.
Because people liked this so much that the ride creators said, let's commission a second one.
Yep. And they put the second one out front in the at the front of the park. Or the area, as it were.
So if you are afraid of spiders and are saying to yourself, well, I just won't go on that ride, then they won't get me. Well, sorry.
They're gonna get you.
They're big, they're black, and they've got, actually 2 of their eyes kind of have intelligent eyes in them. The slits, and there's a little bit of foam coming from the edge of the fangs.
Yeah, and the fangs looked a little blood-stained as well.
These, I do not want to be near.
Really? They looked kind of goofy.
Death. Death embodied. That's all. Ugh. This may be something nerdy that we're talking about, theme park animatronics, but these ones are definitely tickling the scary bone. And now, once again, big surprise, back to Disney. We are going to the Jungle Cruise in Disney World. Now, when they were talking about this on the video, as soon as I saw the words Jungle Cruise, I said, oh, yeah, I know this one. This one's stupid. Because they have the same exact spiders from the Haunted Mansion that are hanging in a cave in the Jungle Cruise. They just hang there on the side. You don't get too close to them. Fun fact, in quotation marks there. Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Hey, Whiskey, do you want to know a fact? It's fun. Okay.
No, I'll pass.
All right, then. Moving on. Number 11. Okay. The Haunted Mansion spiders in Walt Disney World were removed from the Haunted Mansion. That whole section was taken out and was replaced by an M.C. Escher-esque room full of stairs. The spiders were put in the cave in the Jungle Cruise. Not really that bad, but no, the ride video said. We're talking about the other one. Oh, right, that one. Okay, so something that's really good about ride queues these days is they're trying to find ways to make them more interactive and interesting so you don't just stand there and scream endlessly, move!
Yeah.
In this case, they decided to put a tarantula in a cage.
And rattle and shake it every so often.
You don't even realize it's there, though. I mean, bro, I actually put my arm on this thing for years.
Just chilling.
Yes. We would reach points in the ride and like, oh, fine, let's see if I can land it. And I put my arm on this. I didn't even realize it was in there. I mean, now, I hate it now that I know it's there now. And they've made it more dramatic. Over the years, it started with just a kind of fuzzy-looking spider. Like, it almost looked like a large mouse, honestly. That's how fuzzy it used to be. And it would just make a hissing noise, and it would shake in the middle of the cage. Now, it looks distinctively like a tarantula, and the cage itself will tilt. And during Christmas time, I put a Santa hat on it.
Because that's adorable.
Oh my gosh, there was this old sitcom, Living with the Kellys. During the Christmas episode, they visit the family's house for Christmas, and the mother is obsessed with decorating. She's in such a bad mood, and the son that lives with her said, I don't know why she's so angry. You know, I put one of my tarantulas on her bed with a little Santa beard on it, and she freaked out and wasn't even impressed. I guess she's not impressed by Santa beards.
No, I think you're missing the point.
All I'm thinking is, like, who puts a beard on a tarantula?
They're doing the Santa hat. Then next year they're doing, or no, this year they're doing the beard too.
I think it'd be adorable if they put a little Santa boot on each of the 8 legs.
Instead of the box, it's in a sleigh. A sleigh.
You mean it's just open?
The box is in a sleigh.
It's in a Christmas present that's mostly unwrapped. Oh, gosh. Okay. I think... No. Wait. Yes. No. Hang on. Just double checking this list because I love you, Disney, but you've taken up quite a lot of this list. And yeah, we're done. No more Disney. Goodbye. Because now we're going somewhere that's technically not even a theme park. This list is about attractions. Gengu Tech.
Well, it's more about the animatronics, specifically.
Gengu Tech is a company in China which is known for making animatronics of massive size. Everything from dinosaurs to marine life to giant, horrifying tarantula, spider, widow, spever, spidey whim things.
It didn't look that bad.
That's because you don't know the full story.
Okay.
These are sometimes made for parks, but also made for movies and attractions. Now, there was a trip I took many years ago to China. When we were in Shanghai, we visited several museums. One of them was their Museum of Science and Technology. I was glancing at the map, and I saw they had an entire section called the Hall of Spiders.
Okay.
Now, as I'm walking through the museum, I went through the Hall of Butterflies, and I look up, and the entire ceiling is covered in massive animatronic butterflies. And we go into the jungle room, and there's the giant lion, and there's the giant iguana, and they're all moving. And I said to myself, wait a minute. And I took out the map and looked at it again.
Yep.
And I looked closer this time, and I realized that there are gigantic moving spiders. As a matter of fact, I walked by this section of the museum, and there was one upside down on the ceiling, coming out of a web. The entrance to the room was the opening of a web.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it had the horror letters. It was characters, of course, but under that was the English translation, and it had them in red glowing horror letters. I said, nope.
Nope.
So if you're wondering where the Gengu Tech spiders are, that's where they are, Whiskey. I guarantee you that they're in there. And the one they showed us was in the middle of a field, which was probably just like an unveiling. It was a big fuzzy black tarantula, and supposedly it's programmed to respond to noise.
And touch and movement. Noise, touch, and movement.
Hey there! You see the giant spider? Do you want to go up and touch it? It's programmed to respond to your touch.
That sounds really cool.
That sounds really bad.
Oh, it sounds really cool.
It sounds like the origin story of something horrible. And that is why no one visits China anymore, for now it has become the world's largest spider web. When the spider animatronics gain sentience thanks to an AI.
Rogue AI. This sci-fi story is taking on a whole ton of different twists and turns.
But now we're off to Legoland. Number 10 is the Spinning Spider.
It's basically cups.
This is a ride. It's, remember how you had the dollar version of the teacups when you were in Sadness Land?
Mr. Cup.
I thought that was London Taxi.
Okay, so Britain was London Taxi for bumper cars,
yes,
which is hysterical in its own right.
Putting the drink down.
And
instinctively.
Mr. Cup. the dollar store version of teacups.
Cups.
Because all of British culture can be reduced, don't you know, to taxis and tea.
We will get back to Britain later, people. Britain's going to come on this list, but the Spinning Spider ride in Legoland, you are sitting in an upturned, chopped log. There is a spider inked on the outside, and as you are spinning around overhead on like the back half of this ride,
No, it looked like just overhead. It looked like a bit of a canopy.
is a massive spider with glowing red eyes.
Made out of
no,
Lego.
green eyes. And there was another one that was on the side, though I think that one might have been inflatable, honestly.
No, everything in Legoland is made out of Legos.
It didn't move, it didn't make noise, it just hung there
No,
unpleasantly.
it moved a little bit.
Did it?
It moved a little bit.
Oh, well,
Not
it was,
much.
It was still unpleasant.
Again, I think it looked pretty cool. I'm a big Lego nerd, so
Now, we're heading over to Europa Park in Germany
Europa.
for number 9. Do you remember a little movie called Arthur and the Invisibles based off the book Arthur and the Invisibles?
I loved that movie. I've never read the book, so I should probably give the book a shot.
You don't really have to. I mean...
Was it actually pretty accurate to the book?
No, I'm just saying one's a children's book and one's a children's movie based off a children's book, so how much do you really need to know?
I need to know, because children's books are sometimes the best books.
Did you know that they're making a movie out of Roald Dahl's Henry Sugar?
No.
I can't imagine what that's going to go like.
What? They made a movie out of The Little Prince.
No way!
Yeah, way.
Wow. Okay, so this is a dark ride with very, very nicely done Arthur and the Invisibles animatronics and stuff. I've said that word so many times it's almost lost all meaning. I'm just going to call them robots.
Robots.
And that kind of makes it sound cheap.
Androids.
But then you
That's not
see
right.
spider monsters. And these ones, the first one you see...
The first one wasn't that bad. It didn't really look like a spider. It just looked like this grub with legs.
It had full teeth and eyes. It had a face.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like a cartoon dog. But then you get to a no ground? What is it they call that? A hanging rope coaster? Yeah.
Yeah, so the coaster hangs, and you step outside into from an underground or enclosed space, as it were. Mm-hmm. You swing out into the wide open fresh air, and then you come back around. And as you come back into the cave, it's just a spider sitting in the cubbyhole waiting for you.
With red neon eyes.
I think that one would get Frosty.
That one would get me.
Especially if he wasn't ready for it.
Especially considering the fact that somehow being free hanging makes you feel a little more vulnerable. Honestly, I don't like free hanging rides as much. I love roller coasters, but I prefer sitting in a cart.
I enjoy it all.
Now, who here wants a trip to beautiful Italy?
Actually, yeah, I would.
I would love it. The history, the food, the wine, the sophistication, the gigantic robot spiders lunging at you from the ceiling.
It's funny you say sophistication. Italy broke its own language. They broke the rules of their own language to emphasize the importance of cars. So a car in Italian is la macchina. Is la macchina. The car. It's the
machine.
Machine.
Italy, we need to talk after this. Are you okay? Everything going all right over there? Okay, so Gardaland is... I don't want to say it's the dime store version, but something that will interest a lot of people. There are a lot of theme parks out there around the world, and some of them are just plain terrible. In fact, I have seen rides in... what's the place with all the man-made islands and the really, really tall buildings?
Are you thinking Dubai?
There we go. There are theme parks in Dubai, and I looked at some of the rides for things like Hotel Transylvania and whatnot, and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and they are quite literally just statues. You go on a ride past statues. Yes, people, there are theme parks out there that are less than stellar. Yep. Gardaland, however, is not one of those. It does have a touch of cheesiness, but they are infamous for having some very sophisticated rides that have never made it to the United States or other theme parks. They happen to have Jumanji: The Adventure in this ride, and this is based off of the films, the recent ones, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji: The Next Level.
Man, that was a dollar store Dwayne The Rock Johnson if ever I saw one.
You'll be attacked by snakes, hippos, a giant stone creature. I haven't seen the second one. I'm wondering if that's relevant. And then, of course, just your garden variety, jungle variety of monsters. But then you enter a huge spider web where poisonous spiders fall from the ceiling, making noise, and they're close. They're not across the room, and they're twitching. Put your hands down. Never do that again. Stab! Get nail, get hammer, nail, Whiskey's hands to table. No more sound.
Except screaming. That's the sound of forgiveness.
Screaming and then silence. We're old. We're old people.
Llamas with hats.
I should also point out the fact that as this is happening, there's smoke from jets. Everyone around you is screaming, and there's flashing lights. So basically, it's everything you never wanted happening at once. Moving off of that, we are heading back to St. Louis. Good old St. Louis. Meet me there. Number 7 is the Darkness Haunted House. You'll be attacked by it, as in, the clown.
Yeah.
Massive cobwebs, horrifying snakes burrowing their way out of the wall as you walk past. Oh, right.
That was really cool.
Did I mention this is actually a walk-through attraction?
It actually looked really cool. This one caught my attention.
You don't have the safety of being in a ride cart that'll whisk you past the spiders in a timely manner. No, you have to screw your courage to the sticking place and say, I'm gonna keep going. Hold my hand, Whiskey.
A Shakespeare reference out of Frosty. Wow.
I know for a fact that if I'd gone through this sort of thing, I'd have my eyes closed, and I'd be holding on to my father's hand, because my mother would have the sense not to do this. And I would have to be, directed past this. And all I'd be hearing is the most horrible sounds in my ears, and my imagination would take over as the spiders descend from the walls and the ceiling. And they come towards you, and they drip poison.
I'm sure it's just water.
Well, obviously it's water. Can you imagine the overhead? But seriously, you have to walk through this attraction in St. Louis. Why would you inflict this on people?
It sounds like a fun time, actually.
Our definitions of fun are different.
As you can tell, Whiskey does not have arachnophobia.
Whiskey is wrong. Whiskey should be afraid. There is much to fear. Fear!
No, I'm good.
Number 6, we go to Thorpe Park. This is the Wicked Witch's Haunt. Now, Britain, we love you. We mentioned we'd get back to you. But your history is just kind of disturbing because British history.
I mean, no more disturbing than the rest of Europe.
They're on an island. They should know better. Their craziness should not spread. In 1983, the first version of this was basically parts of British history. People being hung, beheaded, witches and all sorts of things, robots of terrifying scenes. There's also this one particular witch who's stuck in a cell with a giant spider attacking her. But your ride cart, yes, we're back in the ride cart, gets swept by. But then you go to plenty of spider webs, and the spiders start attacking the ride cart.
Yep, coming down from the ceiling again.
One with a face. I'm not gonna lie.
It was
not that horrifying.
No.
It had like a face that was screaming.
A face only a mother could love.
It looked like the Predator, honestly. Now that I'm thinking it, like when the Predators took off their masks and they had that kind of big mouth that was stuck open like that. You can't see me, people, but I was stretching out my mouth for a comical effect. Like this, Whiskey.
Actually, I think
It had two eyes.
I think the one in Oidopa Park reminded me more of the Predator in that regard.
Really?
Yeah, with the way its mouth was open.
It had a white face. It had a face. The body was kind of terrifying, but the face was not the most horrible thing. It looked more alien. But then, a fire burned the entire place down in 2000. So, someone finally did use a flamethrower to kill a spider. We knew it would happen someday. And it did!
It did.
So all the animatronics plus the giant spiders were destroyed by fire.
Throw it into the fire, Frodo.
Kill it with fire! I don't know which anime that is. All I know is that it's something to do with anime. I should look that up.
Probably.
I'm annoyed. Number 5. This is actually a two-parter. The Haunted House at Alton Towers. We're moving a little further up or down or, over in England to Staffordshire. Alton Towers, haunted house, lots of good haunts here. But then there's a giant honking spider in what's called the Ghost Corridor. It's voiced by, I'm assuming, people who weren't hugged enough as children. And it has a skull face with 2 eyes and a mouth. The thing is, the ride is interactive. Well, it was. You could shoot at it with laser guns, which I could only imagine was cathartic when you get to the part with the giant spiders and you get to shoot at them to make them go away.
Yeah, but see, this was another one that I just thought looked goofy.
It did. Again, it had a human face, and the bodies were kind of terrifying, but they were simple drop animatronics. As then a pressure valve gets released, you hear a hiss of air as it moves up and down, and that's what causes the rapid movement. Like, if you've ever seen, quote, a jump scare robot, something that suddenly pops up and you hear a hiss of air, that's what's happening. These were not that terrifying, but, you could shoot at them. Thing is, we're going to jump ahead from 5 to 3, just for a second, to the Curse of Alton Manors, at Alton Manors. This is the refurbed version. Since 2022...
Take them to the refurbished room that was once bad.
Was that an Avatar: The Last Airbender reference?
Yes, it was.
I love you, Whiskey. Never get married. Run away with me instead. A girl is sent into... let me rephrase this. It's the same ride, but they closed it, they chop, whack, fresh coat of paint, and lots of new shiny things to do.
Yep. They fixed the spider's face.
Now, there is a little girl who is not liked by her family and is banished from a party and told to go upstairs into the attic. You are seeing this in a dollhouse. The girl is so angry,
Bitter.
It
places a curse on the entire mansion.
Because that's what happens with little girls when they get angry. Wait, I was making a joke, but are we actually onto something here?
There might be an abstract lesson to be learned.
Jeez, this got deep. At any rate, she then basically sucks the entire place into the dollhouse. And you, the rider, are now basically screwed. because you are in a doll house full of horror, you wind up seeing horrifying dolls all over the place. But you also get to see a very, quote, real, quote, giant spider, quote, because it's not, I mean, in comparison to you, it's not giant. It's normal size, but you're small in a dollhouse full of horror. I had a point here. Help me, Whiskey. Dig me out of here. Dig me out of here.
I don't know if I can. You dug that hole pretty deep.
Help! They do show you something interesting. That's, as you're moving around this dollhouse.
Yeah, the spider's in the attic, and as you go through into the attic, on like a little screen door, there's a little
silhouette.
It's
a silhouette projection.
Shadow projection of the spider moving into the attic before you.
Which, I have to admit, again, it's even scarier. Like we said, how the webs and the mummified victims were a little more terrifying than the spider. It's a build-up.
Yeah.
That's what it really is. If you can build something up before you actually see it, then you've done your job.
It's all about atmosphere, baby.
Then the spider attacks you with red eyes and noises. And, of course, the fact that it's a giant frickin' spider.
Yeah.
Lunging out of the ceiling.
This one actually looked pretty legit.
I honestly... I found it a little less terrifying, but that was because of the realism. It didn't look silly. It just looked real. But, honestly, I was kind of complimenting it on its realism.
Yeah.
How do you get out of this thing? I don't know. I think we should look up a ride video. Now, we're going to jump back to number 4 for a magical land full of wonder.
We back in Disney?
No.
Okay, thank
goodness. A land full of spells. A land where there's a giant frickin' dragon breathing fire over people's heads. Yes.
Universal with Harry Pothead.
I think it's pronounced Potter.
Oh,
He's French.
Right. Yeah.
Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey is a very, it's actually lauded as being one of the most technically advanced dark rides of the day and age. You enter this mock version of Hogwarts Castle. You sit in a magic pew, which takes you all over the castle. You confront screens taking you outside. You get chased by Dementors, which people are saying are the most terrifying thing. I don't know why.
Why are Dementors the most terrifying thing when Aragog is right next door?
Took the words right out of my mouth. Okay.
I knew what you were going to say.
Need I say it more? Well, actually, I have to. Okay, so just a quick background. Aragog is a giant acromantula, which is a contradiction in terms. No, that's not a contradiction in terms. That's a... what's the word I'm looking for when it's already something and you're saying more to it?
Oh,
One of us studied English. I don't think it was me. Which is sad because it was me.
I know the word, but unfortunately, now that you've put me on the spot, I can't remember the word.
This is terrible. I can't go on until we figure out this word. It's like saying something is extra.
Superfluous?
That's it. That was it. Superfluous.
Superfluous.
Yes, you can't have a giant acromantula. It's already giant, so... Hagrid accidentally released the thing in the school, and then... he drove the thing out of the school into the woods where it grew larger and larger and larger, and now it's massive. You run into it in the second book and the second movie, The Chamber of Secrets, at which point you, as an audience member, are horrified by seeing a combination of CGI spiders and actual spider robots. And Rupert Grint, who played Ronald Weasley, was deathly afraid of spiders, so he was not acting the tears in that scene. Neither was I. Moving on, though, as a ride, you happen to accidentally careen out of the castle, crash into the Whomping Willow, which sends you flying into the Forbidden Forest.
Have you been on this ride?
Oh, no. See, my former best friend, who is with God now, I miss you, Way Nasty. Long story.
No worries.
We were sitting before a computer screen, and he was a massive Harry Potter fan, and they had just come out with this ride. Neither of us were getting to Universal Studios anytime in the near future, so we looked up an on-site video, and we get hit by the willow, and we're flying, and then we hear, "Oh, I can't see anything. Do you hear anything, Ron?" "Yes, I hear things. Very British things." "Quickly, to our magical wands, which are always attached to our bodies. Spell of light."
Lumos.
At which point, you then see... And I'm just saying, this will last a few seconds, but it will scar you for the rest of your friggin' life. This is not on a video screen. a massive animatronic spider, which is ranked as actually one of the largest in the world on scale of animatronics. I looked this up. And then a whole bunch of other spiders fall from the ceiling and come after the ride cart, and you careen wildly away while screaming. And I'm watching this in a computer chair, and when this happened, the chair turned over backwards and I went onto the floor. And A Nasty is laughing at me and like pointing at me with his judgment finger. If I ever go on this ride, that entire section of the ride, there will be like probably, and maybe some puke. Or I could just shut my eyes. Aragog, people. It's horrifying. But this also reminds me of an experience that had been going around. I think it may be discontinued now. It was like a traveling attraction. Mm-hmm. Harry Potter's Forbidden Forest Experience, something along those lines. It went all throughout Europe, and then it came to the United States. It was even in upstate New York.
Oh, wow.
There would be animatronics taken out to a wooded area and set up. This got a lot of hatred from environmental groups because it destroyed entire forests. We're not talking about just dropping an attraction. We're talking about they would cut into the land itself to put down the machines. You would run into the centaurs. You would see the hippogriffs. Sometimes there'd be even characters that would show up. There'd be food and things you could get, and people are tromping through the woods, dropping trash and all that. But of course, then you come to the massive web, kind of like a burrow web, which are under the ground.
Yeah.
Spiders basically sit under them and wait for things to come near them. Then they launch themselves out, grab them, and pull them in. Aragog crawls out of this, so a big hole has to be dug, and the spider would put there. But then, descending from the trees as lights begin to flash ominously, are at least a dozen smaller spiders, and by small I still mean about the size of a pit bull. No, that's probably, again, too small. Probably about the size of a Great Dane, each descending towards you. This was portable, which means someone had the illustrious job of manually climbing into a tree and taking the spider in his hand and hanging it. I can't even picture it. It's too horrible. It's horrible, Whiskey.
Seems fine to me. Seems like it pays well.
I would hope. Like I said, the environmentalist groups hated this thing. I think it's gone forever. I don't think it's coming back.
Hey, Whiskey? What do you see above us?
I see the beautiful night sky, full of stars and the Milky Way.
What do you think it all means?
Well, I think it means we're gonna have another beautiful day tomorrow. And I think it really speaks to our place in the universe, you know? Here we are, specks of dust, riding on another speck of dust, flying at hundreds of millions of miles per hour through space and time, and we get to observe the majesty and glory of the universe and stars above us. Such insignificant beings we are, wholly privileged by time and circumstance to enjoy this moment, right here, right now. It's sublime. Why? What do you think it means?
I think it means someone stole our tent, you idiot.
Oh, I was wrong.
No?
It happens every once in a while.
Oh, neat.
No, not about that. About not doing any more Disney.
Oh, yeah.
There's one more Disney. Number 2.
Honestly, I think our Universal one should have been number 1, just based off the looks of these spiders.
I agree. Some of these were not terrifying.
No.
Tough to Be a Bug takes place in Animal Kingdom, or it did, because it is officially closed now in both parks. They are making way for a brand new ride, and I say good.
No spiders.
It wasn't exactly that. It was that it was dated and a little dumb, in my opinion. Okay, this was another 3D attraction. You have been granted access to the Tree of Life. You now get to see what it's like to be a bug, becoming an honorary insect, wearing insect eyes, which are their elaborately disguised 3D glasses. You have shrunk to the size of an insect. You are sitting in a theater, a robot Flick shows up and says hi to everyone, but then he appears on the screen. And various things come in. He wants to introduce you to many bugs and show you, in a kind of a variety show, that it's not that bad being a bug.
Yeah.
Some of us are interesting. And they bring out a stink bug who accidentally sprays the audience, so a smell comes out. And some sort of wasp that sprays a poison. So, of course, liquid gets sprayed at the audience at some points. But one of the ones I didn't like was Chili. Chili is a special, Argentinian tarantula. Black and red and very fuzzy, and he comes crawling onto the stage, and as I said, this is a 3D show. The special Chili Argentinian tarantula has the ability to shoot spines or something at his prey to poison them. And the target decides to fly over the audience. So you are getting to, not only do they send a whoosh that comes into the audience, you also get to see Chili's legs shoot out at you.
Oh, that's wild. That sounds pretty cool.
Of course, eventually he gets so pissed off from missing that he storms off the stage, and you're like, oh, thank goodness that's over. Until the animatronic spiders drop from the ceiling. Hopper.
Again, from the ceiling.
Hopper, is that Michael Keaton, I think? I think it's Michael Keaton. Yes, Michael Keaton in grasshopper form is a very large insect robot. I think he's 24 or 38 feet tall, something like that.
Really?
He stands up on the side of the audience and is angry and blames all humans, saying, "You're so terrible. Why should we ever try and make friends with you?" To which I say, hell yeah! Insect segregation forever! My fist is up. I'll lower that.
We're gonna cut that in post.
I don't like insects very much. But the thing about this is that he instantly declares war on all the humans in the theater, and he sends very realistic insect robots descending from the ceiling. First, wasps.
Okay.
They descend, and they have a clever little device on the back of every single chair. You don't see it when you sit down. It shoots a jet of air into your back.
Oh.
Like this. So you see the wasps coming down, at which point Hopper shouts, "Wasps! Sting them!" And everyone in the audience screams as they get jabbed in the back with air.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
For me, that did it. That was enough.
That sent you over the edge.
I just close my eyes, and I can't see anything, and they can't get me, because they're not real. Oh my gosh, they're real! Everything I see in the parks is real! But then after those go back into the ceiling, you are approached by Black Widow spiders, which descend, and they look very real, and they come very, very close. We're talking within a couple of feet, hanging from the ceiling, and these once again drip poison. They spray onto the audience. So again, there's a 10-year-old Frosty, eyes closed. It can't hurt me. It can't hurt me. Oh gosh, it's spraying on me.
Of course, that makes it worse.
That makes it worse. I will point out at the very end of this, though, that the funniest thing that happens is, they end it with a charming musical number after chasing Hopper away. You are told, a voice on an intercom says, "Please remain seated so the grubs, larvae, and millipedes can leave first." Remember those air jets I told you about? Yeah. They have them on the floor, too. And they run them over your feet, so it feels like bugs are running over your feet. At that exact moment, everyone in the entire audience starts screaming and picking their feet up. This ride was meant to traumatize.
I guess so.
Yeah. So now we've reached our number one, which I didn't agree with.
I don't think I really agreed with it either.
And you know what?
What?
It didn't scare me.
No.
This was which is Phantasialand, which is in Hollywoodland, which is in Cologne, Germany.
Cologne.
Are you sure those Germans have really wacky words? Are you sure it's not Cologne?
Yes.
But it looks like Cologne.
It's Cologne.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so in this particular ride, you are taken through various movie sets. But by movie sets, I mean knockoffs. There's a Jaws knockoff, there's I don't know, you go through scary sets, you go through medieval areas, it's a whole crazy stuff. I've actually seen this one because I like to watch ride videos online.
He's not weird.
There are some things I'll never get to see, and I admit that to myself, so this is the only way I'll get to see it, fine, I'll do it. Thing is, though, at one point,
inspiring.
you come towards the end of the ride, actually, you go, and you're in a boat, by the way.
Okay.
You go underneath the legs of a giant fuzzy brown spider.
I wasn't very impressed with this one.
You can actually reach out and touch the fuzz. That's how close this thing is to you. All 4 legs are in the water, and it looks at you, but it's so fuzzy, you can't really see the face. And it's got its little fuzzy fangs, but they're so fuzzy, it's like, where's the face, head? Honestly, in my opinion, not the scariest.
Nope.
I suppose the only reason it ranked number 1, well, there were 2 reasons. One was, the sheer size of it, and the fact you go directly under an entire body of it. I suppose for some arachnophobes, that would really, really knock you for a loop.
Yeah, I can see that.
But there's also the fact that this is now a closed and abandoned attraction, which means that spider is in there alone, decaying, with parts falling off it, and actual spiders making their home on the animatronic spider.
Fight 5 Nights at Phantasialand. Ooh.
No. Why must you put that in my head? Why? You're a terrible person sometimes. This is one of those times.
Yep.
So I think we can just both agree that we're never, ever, ever going on 9 out of 10 of these.
Yeah.
Not because of the fear factor, but probably because I don't think our bank vault, our Scrooge McDuckian bank vault is full of gold coins that we could swim in.
Nope.
Yeah, so that was it, people. 17 attractions inspired by people who hate you.
I'm gonna put a number 0 on this list.
Really?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
I tormented my players in Dungeons & Dragons with a spider that came straight out of the demon webs.
Happy with yourself?
I am happy with myself. It was a great moment. They're all running away. Oh my gosh, it's gonna kill us as they escaped through the tunnels. One person was a druid. They transformed into a deer. Just left everyone behind.
I'm out.
Just ditched everyone else.
I'm out.
Funnily enough, that player has arachnophobia too.
Imagine.
So
you are a terrible dungeon master.
A spider from the
You are a vengeful god.
A spider from the demon webs is a demonic-looking spider. So it's like giant, like the size of Aragog, with spikes. Instead of hairs, it's spikes. And like acid
Wait.
breath and stuff.
Was this a video game? Was this online, or was this literally written in a campaign?
I wrote this into the campaign.
And people are just so terrified of envisioning this thing, they all ran for it?
They all ran for it, yeah.
Ugh. You stinker.
I am.
You are a massive stinker. Well, people, you may wonder, why Frosty and Whiskey would you inflict this upon us? Because it's ween season, people.
It's the Burr months.
As soon as September hits, you can start with the scary movies and start with the decorations. It's ween season, people. Get into the spirit. Things are only going to get more terrifying from here, and as soon as October hits, don't spend a second alone.
You're so dramatic.
I am, thank you.
You're such a goober.
I am also your friend Frosty.
And I am your bartender, Mike Whiskey.
And as always, have a cold one on us. Really? Demon spider? Really?
Demon spider straight from the pits of...
Spider hell.
The abyss.
There's something wrong with you.
Just one of the many reasons my players hate me.
I can think of a few more.
This podcast was recorded at and produced by Cape Media Center on Cape Cod, Massachusetts by podcasting duo Mike Whiskey and your friend Frosty. All music and sound credits go to soundstripe.com. Special thanks to Jamie Horton, Emily Tulloch, Gabrielle Rawson. For more information on Bourbon on Ice, visit our social media page at twitter.com/whiskeyfrosty. For more information on Cape Media Center, visit capemedia.org. For more listening options and a variety of podcasting entertainment, visit our hosts at buzzsprout.com and capemediacenter.org.